Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. The WWE changes up its plans for the Royal Rumble main event. And while those plans are still written in crayon by a creative team with the elementary school education of about a third grade level, I appreciate the effort. I am much more excited about the matchup that we are getting for Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, but there is still tons of things that went wrong on tonight's Monday Night Raw. Change, you say? There are no pitter-patter in the steps towards change right now, but the WWE did make an effort, and we are here to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. Oh my God. What a way to go off the air. What an intense and amazing night of Monday Night Raw. Calm down, everybody. Calm down. Just because Finn Balor won 2 matches on one night in a Monday Night Raw that changed directions for the Royal Rumble doesn't mean we're getting this big promised era of change. The new era of Monday Night Raw still consisted of a 6-person tag team matchup, a teaming of a number 1 contender and a world heavyweight champion into a useless tag team match, and a whole bunch of other ridiculousness that went down on Monday Night Raw tonight. We are going to go up and down everything like you guys know we always do, bringing the hammer down like nobody else can, but we cannot go any further without bringing the hammer down on Memphis, Tennessee. Hey, listen, I love Elvis Presley just as much as the next guy, but if you guys in that Memphis arena were alive at all, I couldn't tell. Geez, somebody could have yelled fire, and I'm convinced that nobody in that arena would have even moved or even cared. Nobody would have even yelled fire if there was an actual fire. That's how little energy this crowd has. It was a very disrespectful crowd to me, not intentionally. It's not like they purposely wanted to shit on the announcement of the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships tonight, but they just seemingly didn't care. Maybe since it was placed inside of a moment of bliss, where the best moment of that whole thing, it was the fact that we almost saw Alexa's Bliss bags prior to the whole interview segment. Without that happening, then who really gives a shit, right? We went back to the Attitude Era, walking in on Alexa Bliss as she was half naked in the back. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? So she can show off her new big fake boobies? Nobody gives a shit. We don't care. Sure, it was nice to see what you got to see. Sure, the implication was appreciated by anybody who's a male or happens to be attracted to Alexa Bliss, and to all the little 13-year-olds at home that can now go into their bedroom when Monday Night Raw goes off the air and have at it. You know, good for them. But that's not why I'm watching this. This is bullshit. The whole segment was bullshit. And it's very disrespectful to even have the women's tag team belts be announced by Alexa Bliss. She has nothing to do with it. Hopefully she has nothing to do with it. The involvement of Paul Heyman meant nothing. The tag team title belts were beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous piece of hardware. Much better than that 25-cent quarter piece plates that they had for the original pictures we were all showing. Looked like Lady Liberty was looking in a mirror. Just was a terrible design. But these designs were beautiful, and the whole segment took away from it. Being attached to Alexa Bliss with a microphone took away from it. Having Otis Dozovich of Heavy Machinery come out, this guy came out there looking like something out of the Lord of the Rings. He looked like a dwarf or a hobbit. He was barely taller than Paul Heyman sitting on a step stool. Do you guys realize that? This guy was on his feet, and he was standing behind Paul Heyman, who was seated on a stool, and he was not taller than him. I don't know if that was by design or if this guy is really actually that small. He doesn't come off as a tiny looking guy to me when I was watching him in NXT. But what was the point of this? I was laughing my ass off. it was funny. Otis is walking out there, as bewildered as I am for watching Monday Night Raw in the first place. That's probably what I look like when I'm watching the show. He's just like, what? Why? Where am I? What is this place? Why does it smell like shit everywhere that I go? Oh, it's Monday Night Raw. I'm surrounded by trash. Oh, let me scream, yay! And Alexa Bliss is like, what the fuck is going on? Heyman's like, what is going on? I don't know whether or not that was scripted to happen, or if, let me rephrase that, because everything in wrestling is scripted. I don't know whether Alexa and Paul knew that that was going to happen. I don't know if they were running over, or if Vince McMahon felt the segment was going to shit, because it absolutely was. It was meaningless, it was pointless, it was a waste of time, so he took Heavy Machinery and threw them out there. Said, hey, you know what? We showed EC3 for a blip tonight. Nobody really gave a shit. We showed Lacey Evans in the back. Nobody gave a shit. We had Nikki Cross come out. People kind of gave a shit. Maybe a little bit. There was kind of a little bit of noise going on, but nobody really cared too much. Maybe they'll care if we show these two guys. You know what? We don't have anything planned. Go out there and act like morons. Pretend you don't know where you are. Look like an idiot, and I'm sure it'll be great. And, you know, it actually was. It was enjoyable. Mostly to me because it brought this whole segment to an end, but I was sitting there as bewildered as Otis was. What the fuck was all that? That's the best you got? You wonder why I'm telling you guys this creative staff writes with crayon in the back on construction paper. Going up to Vince McMahon like the pre-K teacher. Here you go, Mr. McMahon, sir. I drew this picture for you, sir. This could be what you use for Monday Night Raw's script tonight. Ha ha ha! Trash! I love it! Crumple it up, throw it in the garbage, take it out of the garbage, and pin it to the board. Because it's trash. It means nothing. It's worthless. We're gonna use it. It's exactly the way I write Monday Night Raw. This is a new era of ruthless aggression. Stop it. Stop it. If that was the most enjoyable part of Monday Night Raw, then you know things are going wrong. I have my little brother who barely even watches wrestling anymore. He only watches it on the rare occasion that a pay-per-view is coming up like the Royal Rumble, and he has a young son. My nephew Giovanni, my godson, is into wrestling. Thank God. But I wish that wrestling was better for him. I wish it was like it was when my brother and I were younger, because what he's getting, he doesn't even realize is trash, and he's going to grow up thinking that this is what wrestling is supposed to be, and it's not. And I got him calling me tonight going, dude, what is this? Now, you could consider my brother a casual fan. If casuals don't get it, and casuals aren't just going, wow, that's pretty funny, ha 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 ha, I get it, then there's a problem here. Don't you think? Weirdsville tonight on Monday Night Raw. I can't say it enough. There was so much stuff that happened tonight that just really didn't make sense. Right off the start of this show, with Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin being the first two faces we had to see tonight. Are you kidding me? Braun Strowman apparently has been reported all day that he was going to be removed from the Royal Rumble match because his injury to his arm is still too severe, and then you got him on Monday Night Raw flipping over limousines. Michael Cole wants to say, oh, that was about 2 tons. Actually, a limousine is about 6,700 pounds, which is more equal to 3.5 tons. Not that I'm a mathematical genius or anything. It's just wrong. You're wrong right there. If you're going to spout a specific fact like that, then you should at least have your facts correct. It's that hard to fact check something as simple as that? I did it before we went on air with this show. Why couldn't they do it for Monday Night Raw? Now, I made myself sound like I knew what I was talking about because I'm a professional and I do my research, which is not something that they do on Monday Night Raw, especially when pertaining to the announce team. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. This whole segment just went downhill really, really quickly. It became another Braun smash segment. Braun becomes the Incredible Hulk. Baron Corbin pisses him off because Baron Corbin's holding the microphone, and that alone will piss anybody off. I don't understand why that's even still a thing. Coming out looking like the Hilton desk clerk with his stupid shiny chrome dome head, saying nothing, doing nothing, meaning nothing, and getting TV time. For what? For what? For Braun Strowman to chase him around the back, have Elias's only appearance on this show be there to sing a song to tell Braun Strowman where Baron Corbin is hiding. That's the best they had for Elias tonight. No wrestling, no nothing like that. We don't got time for that, but you could sing a song to tell Braun Strowman where to go, because that's how highly Vince McMahon thinks of you, Mr. Elias, sir. And then we have him rip the door. Braun Strowman rips the door off of the limousine, bashing the windows in. Baron Corbin screaming, and then he runs and takes off. And instead of Braun Strowman tearing right after him, he takes 2 slow-ass steps, and then there suddenly is Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon's acting has gotten just as bad as his creativity and his writing, because the man on screen is awful. I cannot believe that I have to sit here in 2019 and tell you that this guy that's in his 70s is still trying to be the Vince McMahon of the 1990s and early 2000s. His delivery is stale. His delivery is awful. He says and does nothing. He literally said nothing before they went to a commercial break. He just stood there staring at Braun, and Braun stood there staring at Vince with a broken door on the floor. Nothing was said. We go to commercial. We come back. Still nothing's being said. Apparently, the people in Memphis had to sit there and watch Vince McMahon and Braun Strowman stare at each other while we were in a commercial break that went on for the greater part of 3.5 to 5 minutes, and they did nothing. No wonder Memphis checked out. Maybe after that opening segment, they had to watch these 2 idiots just stand there, stare at each other, and not say a thing while they shattered glass and a friggin' metal door ripped off its hinges. I wouldn't blame them for mentally checking out if that's the case. Or did they have to go to commercial live? That's even worse. Being in the arena, you're sitting there, now you gotta watch commercials? You're supposed to be at the live show. If you wanted commercials, you would have stayed home with the rest of us and watched this piece of shit, right? Awful. Absolutely awful. All for him to take Braun Strowman out of the match. Oh, you ripped my limousine door off its hinges. That's going to cost you $100,000 fine. Oh, and now you want to mouth off and be a smart ass? Well, now you lose your match with Brock Lesnar. This whole thing could have just been announced before the show went off the air. You could have just said, it has been announced that the medical staff has not cleared Braun Strowman to wrestle due to his previous injury in his arm, and la-di-la-di-la-la-la. Done. That whole first 15 minutes of Monday Night Raw could have been given to a guy like Apollo Crews, or you could have kicked it off with a Fatal 4-Way. And how about, since we're talking about Apollo Crews, what the fuck is Baron Corbin doing in this Fatal 4-Way? And even more to that fact, what is Jinder Mahal doing trying to get into this Fatal 4-Way? Just as much as Baron Corbin doesn't deserve it, Jinder Mahal definitely doesn't deserve to even have the opportunity to have a chance at the Universal Championship. But then you got guys like Apollo Crews, who have put on some good matches on Monday Night Raw, had a great Intercontinental Championship match just a couple of weeks back, and you don't put him in this match? New faces, new stars, new era, new matches. Baron Corbin, main event, again. Multiple segments on Monday Night Raw, again. 10-15 minutes wasted or more on Vince McMahon doing absolutely nothing, again. But we don't get to see the Authors of Piss. They're not around. We don't get to see the Raw Tag Team Champions. We don't get to see all of the people that we would much rather be seeing than a Braun Strowman and a Baron Corbin. Now, I'm not saying Braun and Baron Corbin are on the same level, but for me, personally, the ship has sailed on Braun Strowman. I am over Braun Strowman. I could care less. They ruined him beyond any reconciliation. I don't think Braun Strowman can ever be fixed. The best thing that can happen is that he actually goes away, gets off TV for a couple of months, let people miss you, and maybe when you come back, people will give a shit about you breaking things up in the back of the arena. But until then, I don't care about Braun. Baron Corbin, we all know. We all feel the same way about him. The same levels as a Jinder Mahal. Nobody wants to see these guys. There's no reason, there's no logic behind them being awarded this matchup opportunity. And by the same token, why does Finn Balor have to be the only one to qualify for this match now? He was already named by Vince McMahon to be in the Fatal 4-Way. And then because Jinder Mahal wants to say some shit in the back, Vince is changing up his mind. I had the right mind to pick up my cell phone, find Vinnie Mac's number somewhere on the fucking internet, and call him up and be like, hey, listen, I'm not doing anything tonight. I think I deserve to be in that Fatal 4-Way match. Why don't you put me in a matchup against John Cena? I've been training at House of Glory. Let me see what I can do. He probably would have gave it to me. He's just giving it out to everybody else tonight. John Cena's coming out. He's just coming back. He's back for 2 weeks. He wrestles in 2 tag team matchups, and now he wants to face Brock Lesnar, and it's okay with Vince. He wants to throw everything that he's ever done for Vince McMahon and for the WWE in Vince McMahon's face. Oh, The Rock left, Austin left, and I told you I'd be here. I did this, I did that, blah, blah, blah. I've been here every night, blah, 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 blah. Singing his own praises and shoving all his hard work right down Vince McMahon's throat. And then has the nerve to say, oh, well, I'm not saying that means I deserve. Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying, Mr. Robot. It was awful. The fact that he was the first one to come out and make this challenge was awful. Vince McMahon's presence all over Monday Night Raw tonight was meaningless. The guy said nothing. He came out there to announce who was going to take Braun's spot. And then did nothing but stand there while Cena came out. And then Drew McIntyre came out. Just, John Cena, you can go away. Great. Who cares? And then you had Baron Corbin come out. And then you had Finn Balor come out. Finn Balor now the only one out there at this present moment that to me made any sense to even have a chance in this matchup. Because nobody else makes sense. John Cena going against Brock Lesnar, nobody gives a shit. Drew McIntyre is a heel. He's been this really, start-stop momentum over the last few weeks. He's not ready. It's not his time to have the Universal Championship. And Brock Lesnar is not the person that Drew McIntyre should be taking it from. And Baron Corbin, we're not even going to go there. All right, so the logical choice is Finn Balor. But then he gets put in this match with Jinder Mahal, making this a whole Finn Balor-themed episode. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's actually both. It's a great thing. Because we're going to get a matchup at the Royal Rumble that everybody would much rather see than Braun versus Brock. This is a match that we almost got to see once before, the Demon versus the Beast. I fully expect Finn Balor to show up at the Royal Rumble in war paint, ready to take on the Beast in Demon gear. It would be the perfect time to re-debut that whole gimmick, and it will be great. You think AJ Styles was good with Brock Lesnar? Finn Balor can bring on a match the very same, if not even better, than what AJ Styles did with Brock. He's a little bit younger. He's not wrestling as safe as an AJ Styles would be, but he knows what he's doing in there, and it's going to be a much better match. So that's a positive thing, right? We don't usually have positive things on Monday Night Raw, but at least we've gone down a much better direction for the Universal Championship. I do not expect Finn Balor to beat the Beast. I'm going to put that out there right now. Brock Lesnar going into WrestleMania needs to go into WrestleMania as a Universal Champion at this point. I don't really foresee them changing things up. And if they do, it's probably going to be a good thing. It'll catch me by surprise and it'll feel great. But as of right now, I don't see any logical reason for them to do that when they have a red-hot Seth Rollins ready to go to become the Beast Slayer at WrestleMania and maybe finally get a nice, solid Seth Rollins-worthy push for himself in 2019 as the Universal Champion, where maybe an evil Finn Balor can be his foil, since Seth Rollins is actually going to be around every week with the championship, and Brock Lesnar can go away and fight Daniel Cormier. Another thing, as far as directions go, the direction of the Women's Championship with Ronda Rousey and Sasha Banks. This is another double-edged sword. While I enjoyed the post-match stuff that happened with Ronda and Sasha and the sassiness that was going on with Sasha Banks, the backhanded comments coming out the mouth of Ronda Rousey being complimentary while at the same time just kind of brushing off Sasha Banks, in one breath saying Sasha Banks is the best. She's so happy to be in the ring. Oh my God, like it's Sasha Banks, but it's going to be great when I tap you out. Now, I don't have a problem with anything that was said. Everything that was said and the way the girls came off was great. What I don't like was Ronda's backpedaling during all of this. How can you be the baddest bitch on the planet and then say some nasty shit and be like, well, no, I didn't mean that. And then when Sasha gets mad and turns her back and starts walking away, she's chasing her down like her little best friend. No, I'm your friend. Don't be mad. I was being respectful. I'm not trying to say this. I'm just saying that. And just trying to chase her down. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And her little doughy eyes and her feelings were so hurt. I'm like, this is Ronda Rousey. And at the same token, this is the boss Sasha Banks. This is something that everybody's been waiting for. You've seen some of the steam coming out of Sasha Banks. You could feel some of the fire start to build in the post-match segment. Somebody needed to smash somebody in the mouth. It would have been great. But instead, what do we get? We get them still arguing in the back. No, but you don't understand what I meant. And Sasha's like, no, and blah, blah, blah. And you got Bayley and Natty some TV time now, as they're trying to keep their best friends apart in the back. And then they start bickering. Once they clear the air and the smoke settles, and Ronda goes this way and Sasha goes that way, Bayley and Natty start bickering like, well, your friend did it, and your friend said this, and well, your friend said that. And then the Riot Squad comes out. It's just very fucking weird stuff happening all night long. What do you think the Riot Squad's out there to do? They're not out there to do what I would have done. If I was booking the show, I would have straight up had Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan challenge Natalya and Bayley straight up 2-on-2. And would have let Ruby Riott free to do something else. That's how you can fix the Riot Squad. We got more on that coming up on this channel just coming up this weekend. We got a special on the Riot Squad coming at your way where I will go a little bit more in depth on what I just said. But what does the WWE do? I maybe put another W than actually goes there, but that's because it's weird. The Weird World Wrestling Entertainment Company. Where do they go? They go right back to the well, the same old shit. And they book a 3-on-3 6-women's tag team match, which takes on a whole nother level of craziness with the mystery partner being revealed. And we'll talk about that for just 1 minute, because I cannot glaze over the fact that although this segment with Ronda and Sasha was done very well, even with Sasha flipping the 4 horsewoman sign up at Ronda as she's walking away, starting to plant the seeds and light the flame on a story that I want to hear, on something that needs to be told down the line somewhere. The 4 horsewomen collide from MMA and WWE. It's going to be great. But we can't glaze over the fact that the WWE once again just went to their go-to shit. They took the 2 women that are going to face each other at the Royal Rumble, and instead of just going with that interview segment, which was great, they had to give them a meaningless waste of time tag team matchup against Nia Jax, who looks like she knows that her lights are out. You know what I mean? You know, like when you're out in the world and you know today's just not your day, and you have that face on and everybody's looking at you like, hey buddy, what's wrong, pal? Are you okay? You feeling alright? You don't look yourself today. And you know that today you're just defeated. That's how Nia Jax looked in the ring tonight, because I think she knows her time is up. Sasha Banks is now where she needs to be. She's in the major program with Ronda Rousey. Where is left for Nia Jax to go? Unless they shake things up and send her to SmackDown Live, there is nothing further for Nia to do on Monday Night Raw, and that's fine with me. Her teaming with Tamina went nowhere but right in the trash. That's where it deserves to be. I was one of the first people to sit here and tell you guys that I thought that thing was going to work. It was initially my idea. I was talking about it weeks before it actually happened. And then when it happened, they did it so poorly that I wish I never even thought of it, because it became a reality, and now here we are with this dysfunctional team of cousins that can't buy a win. They look awful, they wrestle awful, And the only thing I can see is the WWE putting them in the women's tag team division from this moment on. After this matchup tonight where Nia Jax phoned it in and Tamina was as terrible as she always is, you can't help but see a very dark future for those two. And I don't want anybody to have a bad future or anything like that, but can you really care? What are we losing? Nothing at the end of the day. If anything, we are gaining a very interesting future with Sasha versus Ronda Rousey. I hope that the next couple of weeks they really try to build more on top of the Four Horsemen thing that is going on. It's one of the best things they have underneath their umbrella right now that they can work and make special. And you make it more special by starting it small and starting it now, so that by the time we get to it, it has all this history behind it and it feels epic. So that's some of the positives. Again, not used to talking about positivity with Monday Night Raw tonight, but that's some of the positives we could take out of what we've seen tonight for the Women's Championship division. But somebody definitely needed to get smacked in the mouth, and all we really needed was that post-match interview segment. You could have scrapped the whole entire match, made room for some other guys to be on the show tonight, maybe have the World Tag Team Champions defend their titles tonight against somebody, I don't know, anybody, who cares at this point. But a little much ado about nothing, really, or a little too much to do about nothing, because all you needed to do was that one interview. It could have happened in the back. You could have had it go down the exact same way, scrap the match, and it would have made everything even better. That match was completely unnecessary. Told you about the Riot Squad challenging Natalya and Bayley in a 6-woman tag team matchup. But before we got to that, we had another time-wasting bullshit of a match. We had the Spanish New Day coming out, the Lucha House Party with their piñatas and their candy and their outfits and their goofiness. Another trio that is unnecessary. Going up against the Revival. I don't even want to say those words on this show anymore, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I can't even believe I'm saying that. I was one of the biggest advocates of the Revival. I was one of their biggest supporters. But after the last year, after 2018, and now even beyond, do you care about the Revival anymore? Do they feel like the same Revival that came up to the Raw roster from NXT? They absolutely do not. This is the same Revival that lost to the Lucha House Party multiple times. The same Revival that lost to Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. This is the same Revival that can't get a win if they paid the ref. But they got the win tonight. Who cares? I barely paid attention. They came out wasting more time talking shit, calling shenanigans on the fact that he had his foot under the bottom rope during the Tag Team Championship match. Who cares? Who cares? The tag team division is a waste of time. It is garbage. And the fact that you are giving us this match instead of a match featuring the tag team champions, trying to establish the division, give them a decent run, make them get some wins under their belt so that they could be worthy of being called champions, that you want to give us this match again. And I'm supposed to just be, oh, change, yay! Everything is great now. We're going to have 2 matches with Finn Balor. Everything is great now. Nothing is great. We might be on a slightly better path, but the execution is still just terrible. Absolutely terrible. Just like I said before, multiple superstars were standing outside Vince McMahon's office. Now, this line ran from everybody from Apollo Crews to the B-Team to Kurt Hawkins to EC3, who nobody gave 2 shits. They showed EC3, and the entire crowd were dead silent. Apparently nobody in Tennessee watches NXT. Or at least the people that go to Monday Night Raw don't watch NXT. The real wrestling fans, apparently. Because nobody knew who the hell he was. Just like nobody made a sound for Lacey Evans in the back. I didn't understand that at all. Zero reaction for these guys. But all of these guys are in the back and they want a shot against Brock Lesnar. Why? Why does Bo Dallas want a shot against Brock Lesnar? Why the fuck is he standing out there? Apollo Crews, I'll give you. Kurt Hawkins? The Beast versus the Streak? Are you fucking kidding me? Get out of here with that. Take things seriously. And you will find a really big increase. We're not watching Monday Night Raw for comedy. If I wanted to watch comedy, I'd put on Adult Swim. I'd watch Bob's Burgers. I'd watch Family Guy. I'd watch shows that were actually funny. I'm watching wrestling. I don't need 3 hours of comedy. Awful. After this, we had Vince McMahon come out to actually address the situation, to which we had then all the interruptions from John Cena and Drew McIntyre and Finn Balor. And the most interesting thing that happened here was the confrontation between Finn Balor and Vince McMahon. In one of the few sentences Vince McMahon decided to say tonight on Monday Night Raw, he confronted Finn Balor and kind of was brushing him off, saying that he's never really seen you as the guy. He's got a lot of beef in this ring. There's a lot of beef here. You think you could stand up against this beef? What the fuck is he talking about? Is everybody busting ass in there? Well, there's a lot of beef in this ring. That beef is pretty strong. The fuck is he talking about? In the end, he got his point across, pretty much saying, I've never believed in you. Which is probably the most truthful thing Vince McMahon has ever said with a live microphone in his hand. In front of public, anyway. And Finn Balor was like, yeah, pretty much, I know that. I know you don't believe in me. And you're gonna just do what you want to do. But these fans believe in me. And I'm gonna show you. Tonight, give me the chance to show you. And then next thing you know, the brawl breaks out between everybody. The last man standing is Drew McIntyre. And Vince McMahon makes the fatal 4-way matchup. And we have a decent main event, with the exception of Baron Corbin being involved. Literally anybody else could have been placed in that match, besides Jinder Mahal, Bobby Lashley, or Baron Corbin, and it would have went way up. It could have essentially just been the triple threat. McIntyre, Cena, and Balor. That was more than enough. Nothing wrong with a triple threat match. Why they had to go the extra mile and include another body that wasn't anything, didn't mean anything to the match, has no real personal stake with anybody else involved. And how many times do we need to see Finn Balor in the same ring with Baron Corbin? Unnecessary. Just was ridiculous. Then we had Jinder Mahal wanting to get his chance, talking to Vince McMahon about it, and Vince just giving it to him. All right, fine. Who do you want to fight? Well, I'll fight the extraordinary... He couldn't even say the catchphrase. The extraordinary man, Finn Balor. And Vince was like, all right, sure, go ahead. That's why I think I really should have made that phone call. Might have actually got somewhere. Vince McMahon was probably drunk. I don't know. We had the Riot Squad versus Bayley and Natalya with their mystery partner. This is a big swing and a miss for me. For multiple reasons. One, Nikki Cross debuting on Monday Night Raw is wrong for all kinds of reasons, not the least of which being that she's nowhere near her faction mates, her team, her squad sanity. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand why they are almost purposely keeping her away. And then there's people that are on social media. Oh, they said that the new talent's gonna be on both shows, Mr. Nightmare. That's a great idea, so to get them more exposure, so. More exposure? Great idea? Are you on crack? Do you know what this spells out? Do you know what this says to me? This says they don't have a fucking clue what to do with Lars Sullivan. They don't know what they're doing yet with EC3. They have no clear, set plans in place for Nikki Cross. So we're just going to use them whenever we feel like it until we decide, well, they'll work here. What kind of an ass-backwards call-up is that? Somebody explain it to me. If I were in their shoes, I wouldn't really be excited about this. Oh, well, we're just going to use you where we see fit. I'm sorry, what? Didn't they get a call up to a specific roster? Or they just, oh, nope, you're coming up to the main roster. Oh, great. Thank you, Mr. H. Thank you, sir. All my hard work's really going to pay off. Where am I going? Oh, well, we're not sure yet. But we're going to keep telling everybody you're coming. And always bring your gear with you, because we might use you every week, but we're not sure where you're going to be. Well, should I come to Raw this week? Well, you know what? Come to both shows every week. Just in case we decide to use you. Because we don't really have a plan. We just want to tell everybody that yous are coming. Ass backwards, everybody. That's not how you do it. You're supposed to have a plan. You're supposed to have a story. You're supposed to have an opponent or a partner or a manager or some sort of plan in play when you're bringing in a new talent. You don't just bring somebody in or call somebody up and say, all right, go sit on the bench until we're ready. If that was your plan, was to just call them up for the sake of calling them up, leave them the fuck alone. Let them be in NXT. Let them do what they were doing and doing very well. Why are you calling them up if you have nowhere to put them? Or you don't know where to put them. Usually, you sit back and you say, wow, look at this kid. I like these two guys, this heavy machinery team. We could do a lot with them. We could bring them up and put them on SmackDown Live. We could start them in a feud with Sanity. We could do this. We could do that. We could lead them all the way up to WrestleMania. And then they could have a shot at the championships against the Bar. And they will lose in their first attempt. But maybe they'll win it back on the SmackDown after WrestleMania. Like, have a plan in play. You don't just call up Heavy Machinery and go, all right, I need you to go out there tonight and scream. Go out there, look like you're a dumbass. Be bewildered and confused like you don't know where you are and scream. That's what I need from you, Mr. Dozovich. That's why he was called up. I'm sure he had a lot of fun. I'd have fun. If you told me to go out there and act like an idiot, I'm going to go out there and do that, and I'm going to have a blast. But this was your plan? Don't tell me that this was a great idea. That this is better for the talent. It gives them more of a chance for people to see them and get to know them. If people need to get to know them, then they don't need to be called up yet. How about them apples, Will? Huh? Take that shit to the bank. In the end, Nikki Cross, again, coming out on the babyface side of things. Well, the only positive here, if you want to try to pull any positive from all of the multiple negatives in this 6-women's tag team matchup, is I think Ruby Riott versus Nikki Cross would be a fucking great feud. It would be so good. But in order for it to be good, in order for it to mean anything, you'd have to remove Ruby Riott from this trio of terror that she is in. They don't have to dismantle the Riott Squad. All they have to do is let Ruby be a singles wrestler and let the other two be in the tag team division. Keep it that way. Stop with the one-man advantage or the two girls on the outside and always having the numbers game in their advantage. It doesn't need to be that way. Ruby versus Nikki Cross, one-on-one, would be an interesting program, to say the least. Who would be heel, who would be babyface? At that point, doesn't matter. You got two crazy chicks just going at it. Nobody has to even clearly be defined. They could both be in that gray area, but you're going to get something really crazy out of those two. That's an avenue they should definitely explore. Other than that, having her involved with Bayley and Natalya, for what reason does she give two shits about Bayley and Natalya? Just because she's looking for a fight? So any two girls can go up to her and be like, hey, listen, we're going to fight these other three girls. You want to come with us? Oh, play with Nikki! Nikki! And she's just going to go for it? I was not a big fan of Nikki Cross debuting on Monday Night Raw tonight. In case that hasn't come across. I have to make that perfectly clear. I'm a big fan of Nikki Cross. I love everything she's done in NXT. One of her greatest rivals is Asuka, which is on the Blue brand. Her teammates, the people she belongs around, are on SmackDown Live. and you bring her up to Monday Night Raw, not to do anything significant, but to just be on a standard Monday Night Raw 6-woman tag because Sasha Banks is busy tonight. Nikki Cross is not a fill-in. Should have been made much more special. Oh, but she's not where she's going to end up being, and it's not the official debut. Shut up. Her face was on Monday Night Raw tonight. Her official debut on the main roster would come during the Open Challenge by Becky Lynch. That would have been her official debut. This is a huge step down. And she should have stayed on course with the blue brand. Would have made much more sense. The rest of the people that showed up tonight on NXT, waste. Every one of them a waste except for Heavy Machinery, whose debut had nothing to do with pro wrestling. But it definitely was memorable, and it'll make you laugh. Just like I do. Then we had Balor versus Mahal. This was not, in this match, the same Finn that I remember seeing at NXT UK TakeOver this weekend. This was a completely different Finn. I don't know. You mean to tell me Jinder Mahal is that much better of a wrestler than... Oh, the kid's name just escaped my brain. I had it in my head all day. Whatever the kid's name was that Finn Balor faced at TakeOver. Kid's a great wrestler. But Jinder Mahal made Finn Balor have such a tough, rough battle? No. Come on, man. Jinder Mahal doesn't belong on my TV in 2019 on either show. He's awful. And now he's bringing Finn Balor to his limits? Merely 1 hour before he's got to go into a fatal 4-way? I see what you're doing, WWE. You're trying to make it up to me by having Finn Balor come through all the odds. He had to wrestle twice tonight. Jinder Mahal took him to his limit, and he survives the 3 other people in the fatal 4-way. I see what you're doing. Does it really make sense to have him wrestle twice tonight? Everybody else just gets to have this match, but Finn has to defend his spot without real vocal clarification from Vince McMahon that that's actually what he wanted to do. You can't put somebody in a match and then do that if you're not going to actually make the I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I did, however, enjoy Finn Balor in the main event tonight. We're not going to talk again about a moment of bliss because that's the only other thing in between Balor and Mahal and the fatal 4-way. It was really, really worthless. The best thing coming out of this was the announcement of the Women's Tag Team Championships are going to be crowned at the Elimination Chamber. We are going to have 3 teams from Raw. We are going to have 3 teams from SmackDown. And then the championships are going to revolve from brand to brand. There is only going to be 1 division, which is great because if it takes off, it's going to set the WWE in motion to have only 1 division for the women's singles titles as well. And if we have a unification match at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Live and Raw Women's Champion, and then we have the Women's Universal Champion, which is what I'm sure they'll fucking call it, instead of the Women's World Heavyweight Champion. Not heavyweight, because God forbid we call a woman a heavyweight. God forgive me. Please don't attack me. It was a slip of the tongue. The Women's World Champion. All right, that's what it should be. WWE Women's Champion. Done. Not Women's Universal title, which is what I feel coming. But I'll take it either way. Because having 1 division means it's going to make the division all that much better. And if the tag team division is the first step in that direction and it takes off and it works well, I think the women's division is going to be in much better shape than the tag team division unless they decide to follow suit on that later on in the year as well. We talked about Otis Dozovich and his crazy hooting and hollering and carrying on and wandering around like a deer in headlights out there. And then there was the fatal 4-way matchup, which Finn Balor wins. Hooray! Hooray! Finn Balor won. The only guy in there that should have won. Great. But do you know why I didn't really feel that great about this? And I know you all know this is coming. Because we have an almighty milk dud as the Intercontinental Champion. Bobby Lashley, out of nowhere, gets placed into this Intercontinental Championship feud. We have the IC title triple threat match tonight. And they give it to Bobby Lashley. The match itself was confusing because you had Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins shielding out, teaming up, trying to take out the big guy. And then you got Dean Ambrose ready to turn on everybody at the drop of a hat because he's crazy. He's the lunatic fringe. We don't know what to expect. He's trying to team up with Lashley to take out Rollins. He's trying to team up with Rollins to take out Lashley. He's trying to get everybody else to do all his work for him because he doesn't want to mess up his new jeans. I wasn't into this match, and it made it even worse when Lashley stole this win. I can't even talk to you about it. That's why I saved it for last. I have nothing to say about it. You guys that have been watching me a long time, you know how we feel about the old milk dud. We got a walking human collection of melted malt balls, little melted caramels covered in chocolate goodness, all formed together and joined into become the almighty boring Trashly like Voltron. And now we are stuck with him as the Intercontinental Champion. It would have been bad enough to see him as a Universal Champion, but I think I would have been a little bit more accepting of that over the Intercontinental Championship. And I wanted to bash myself in the head with the hammer because I should have seen it coming. Because there were multiple times throughout this match where guys like Corey Graves and Michael Cole wanted to keep pointing out that Bobby Lashley hasn't had gold in over 11 years. He's never held the Intercontinental Championship, even in his first run with the WWE. So all of their comments were pointing to this man winning this match, and that's what fucking happened, and I wanted to kill myself immediately following Bobby Lashley getting the win. I laughed and laughed and laughed, but not because it was funny, but because I think my brain just snapped, and I went crazy for a minute, and I was maniacally laughing like, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. I hate this company so much sometimes. And in this moment, it couldn't have been felt any clearer. As if they took my own hammer and shoved it right down my throat. And while we're on that subject, Mr. Corey Graves, sir, do not ever use the word sledgehammer when describing anything involving Bobby Lashley. His sledgehammer-like right hand. You want to see my dinner come up? Because it almost did. Oh my God, was I infuriated. This is Sledgehammer TV. I want nothing to do with a guy like Bobby Lashley. Do not associate the hammer with the all milk dud. Almost a little bit too much for me to take. And then the fucking guy wins. Just out of nowhere, taking the Intercontinental Championship out of the program that, I guess it didn't really need it, but Seth Rollins, in his one mission, has been to get that championship back from Dean Ambrose. Where are they going with this? Are Rollins and Ambrose going away from the Intercontinental Championship? Are we going to have a triple threat rematch on the go-home show? What the fuck is going on? A very confusing, very, very strange, very, very weird Monday Night Raw. Was it good? No. No, it was not a good show. Just because Finn Balor won twice and is now set on a path to face the Beast at the Royal Rumble does not make tonight a good show. Just because we had a nice interaction between Sasha and Ronda Rousey does not make tonight a good show. Baby steps, tiny, maybe ant-size steps, in a better direction, but is it the right direction? I don't know. Don't look like change to me. Just looks like they're trying to fool us and trying to get us to just shut the hell up. Oh, they want Finn Balor. They want Finn Balor. Just let Finn Balor win now. Almost like doing it to spite us. Because if you think he's going to beat the Beast at the Royal Rumble, you probably better think again. That is going to be all we have to talk about for tonight's Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all once again for joining me tonight on this episode. 2019, we are looking to make that the year of the Hammer, and that could start with an awesome wrestling fan like you. If you are still here after 50 fired up, badass minutes of Monday Night Raw reviewing, then you deserve to be a part of the Sledgehammer Club and join the family that we are growing here on Sledgehammer TV by hitting that subscribe button right now, and then ring that notification bell so that you don't miss anything that goes up on this channel. We have got a whole bunch planned for 2019, different from what you guys are used to. We're not just going to be doing Raw reviews and SmackDown reviews and all these reviews and that reviews, but we are going to get back to doing all the other shit that we love to do. We are going to do top 5 lists. We are going to do all kinds of wrestling related shows, including a all new weekly series that you're going to have to stay tuned to find out about. And the best way to do that is to be subscribed. So make sure you are doing that so that you're here with us every Monday and Tuesday and every single time a pay-per-view gets dropped on us as we drop the hammer down on the world of the WWE every single time we can. And we love to see you guys there on the other side. While you're down there clicking stuff, why don't you hit that like button for me? Especially if you enjoyed today's review or you agreed with anything I said, just smash that like button right now. Let's continue our goal with every single video this year to get that video to 100 likes. It has yet to happen yet, but I'm sure it will soon, and all you have to do to make it happen is hit that thumbs up right now. And then share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they're not really sure what to think about Monday Night Raw tonight, so that they can be directed in the right frame of mind, and you know exactly where to send them to do that. And our final last piece of business, as always, this show is brought to you by Audible. Audible has over 180,000 titles that you can choose to listen to from one of the biggest and most diverse catalogs of books you will ever see. 1 free audiobook and 30-day free trial if you go and sign up right now at audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv today. Pick 1 free audiobook on the house just for being a fan of Sledgehammer TV and signing up for the service. Cancel the service if you want before the 30 days is up and keep that audiobook absolutely free. Plenty of wrestling titles, all sorts of self-help, science fiction, romance, if that's your thing and you like to tickle your, whatever it is you like to tickle, that's there as well. So go check it out at audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv. That, my friends, is audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv. Thank you, everybody that has subscribed this week. We are almost at 1,200 Sledgeheads. The count continues to rise, and I can't thank you guys enough. My name is Nick Nightmare, and this is my team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the wrestling god of thunder, and the official sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the world heavyweight champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball, and the most important member of the crew, as always, is you. Thank you always for being here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night as we get ready for SmackDown Live. That's going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show. If I could speak. It's late. Monday Night Raw fries my brain. That's always my excuse for any audible flubs. Right here on your new favorite wrestling show, vocal flubs and all, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Thank you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow night for SmackDown Live.